Hi, I'm Jeff Ludy with Houston Window Experts, and today we're on site near the Woodlands up in the Spring area looking at this beautiful project of pillow windows. And I thought I'd take just a minute to make a video to tell you a little bit about our installation process. And obviously I'm not an installer. I'm not going to install a window for you today. We have other videos that show that. But I want to talk a little bit about some of our core principles regarding our installation. Now, if you've watched any of our videos or you've talked with us before, you've learned that there's three P's. I call it the three P's of what makes Houston Window Experts Houston Window Experts. And I think it separates us from our competitors. I think it makes us great. It's the P for product. We have 20 products to choose from. The other P is our process, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is how we install the windows. And then the third is our people. I genuinely believe that we have the very best people working for us that I can find. They're good, they're friendly, they're skilled at what they do, they're honest, and we just love our crew and we're so proud of them. So today, let's talk about the process for just a minute. What separates us from our competitors? Well, to tell you that, I've got to start with a quick little story. When I got into this business about 10 years ago, I was a salesperson selling windows for another company. This is before I started Houston Window Experts. Great company, great people. I still have a great relationship with them. But I learned some things that they did well, and I thought I can do those things well. And I learned some things that they did not so well, and I thought to myself, if I ever start my own business, I'm gonna do that differently. And so I learned a lot about this industry. Some of it's a little bit of a dark secret, right, that maybe you don't know about. And I want to just kind of share some of the differences with you right now. The main difference in the process between us and most of my competitors is we absolutely do not use subs for our work. Most companies use subs. It's how they keep the costs down. It's how they can have more projects when they want to get busier during seasonal times of the year. And when it's slow, they can easily just tell those guys, I have no work for you. So it helps them with their costs. But here's what they lose. They lose control. And I noticed that. Here's how most window companies do it. On Friday evenings, they'll look at a list of all the upcoming jobs in the next week, and they will send those to their installers, and they'll say, what will you do this job for? Give me a number. And they look for the lowest bidder. Now, some of them pay by the window. They don't do it by the job, but some of them do it by the job. Hey, how much would you do this job for? So what happens is you pay this much for your window installation, and then they go shopping it to the lowest bidder for the install. That's not a cool idea. And so the bigger the gap is between what you pay and what they have to pay, the more profit they make. So typically what ends up happening is you get the installer who's maybe the worst installer on the crew because he's the one who's going to get paid the least amount. So the incentive is wrong. Right away, the incentive is wrong because what they want to do is they want to find a way to get out of there, be fast, be quick, cut corners, cut costs, and get out so that they can still stay profitable. And that's not a good scenario. What we do at Houston Window Experts is we pay our crew leaders and we pay our crew members by the hour or by the day, depending on whether they're management or they're hourly workers. There's no rush incentive. There's no hurry up and get done incentive. There's no, if we can put in more windows today, we can make more money today incentive. The only incentive they have is to take their time and do the job right. So that's the biggest difference. Now, here's a second difference that you'll find, is when you have a substitute putting in this, and I say substitute because that's what I call them, kind of like the sub teacher, right? But really subcontractor. They're good people and they probably do good work, but they're not working for you. And those people, a lot of times, are looking for a way to cut corners. Here's one of the things they do. Instead of measuring the window to fit tight, to actually work in the opening perfectly, where it's really nice and tight, they'll knock off a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 of an inch. I've even seen them knock off an inch. In fact, we're going to post a picture right now so you can see some of the finished work of some of my competitors that I happened to spot on a house they were working on. Look at that trim job, how they covered that up with pieces of plastic. You know why they did that? Because they didn't measure the window to the right opening. So, for example, what they'll do is they'll measure, in this case, this window needs to be 31.5 inches big across the width here. What they'll do is they'll say 31.5. You know what? Make it 30.5. Why? Because if it's 30.5, think how much quicker and easier it's going to be to slide this window into here than it is to actually take and work hard and make this window fit really nice and tight. But here's the consequence to that. You know what? You end up with a bunch of caulking around the perimeter. Instead of ending up with more glass and more frame, you end up with less glass, less frame, and a lot of caulking around the edge. And guess what else they do then? They use the cheapest caulk that money can buy because that's all included. They're like, When you install a window project as a sub, you buy the materials that go with it. So what are they going to buy? They're going to buy the $1.99 caulk that you see at Home Depot, not the really good stuff. Let me show you what we use. We use OSI Quad Max. OSI Quad Max is the best stuff in the world. In fact, I sold a window job to a guy one time, and he was an engineer here in Houston. And he said, "What caulking do you use?" And I said, "Oh, we use OSI Quad Max." He said, "You got the job." He hadn't even seen the price yet, because he actually works for a company that makes the chemicals that go in here. He said, "I know the difference between good caulking and bad caulking." This stuff here we buy by the pallet, and it costs us $10 a tube. You can Google this online. You'll see this stuff is about $12 on Amazon. We pay $10 a tube because we buy it by the pallet. So this is really good stuff. In fact, this is the weak link on a window project. Caulking is not going to last as long as your window will, not in Houston's direct sun. So the better the caulking, the better the project's going to be. Another thing they do to save money is they use the cheapest screws money can buy, right? So they just end up with one of those 1.5-inch zinc plated screws. No, not us. We use, and we'll get a close up of this for you to see, but we use this 3.25-inch polymer coated screw that has cross threading. There's threading that goes into the wood. We have a nice long screw because we want it to bite, right? It goes into the wood, and then at the very head here, it's cross-threaded to the other side. Why? What does that do? That allows this to serve as a stabilizer, an anchor, into the window frame itself. So it's pulling in one direction, this screw head is pulling in the other direction, and that creates tension between your wall and your window so that your window doesn't travel. Why? Because houses expand, they contract, the sun hits the window, it gets hot, it expands, it gets cooler, it contracts, your window ends up moving a lot, which makes your caulk fail because it becomes a gap between the two, not when you use a screw like this. These screws are expensive. We spend $600 a month just on screws. That's one of the differences of what we do and they do. And guess what else we do? Yeah, this is another OSI product, and this is their quad foam. This stuff is a minimal expansion foam. It's not the stuff you buy at Lowe's and Home Depot. This stuff actually does not swell up and create a big mess or create impact to the window frame. It swells up just the right amount. And what's cool about it is it's actually a closed cell foam. What does that mean? Closed cell foam means that once it cures, it's actually smooth and slick, okay? So if any moisture ever got behind your wall, it's not going to get soaked up into the foam that's behind the wall where you end up with mildew and mold growing behind your wall. That's just something we think is important to do. So before we would caulk the window, what we do is we inject this foam all the way around the perimeter to create a nice, I call it a donut because it kind of looks like a donut. We create this donut of foam between the cavity of your house, your framing, and between the window itself so that we have a good tight connection between the window and the house. Why is that important? Well, because if you spend all this money on a great window that's airtight and it works really well, but then you can actually like slide your credit card between the house and the window, what good is that, right? Not good at all. So we use the best product, and this stuff's very expensive as well. And then this right here, this is a secret. I'm not going to tell you what it is. If we come out to your house and to talk to you about windows, or you call me and you and I talk on the phone, I'll explain more about what this is. But this is our secret weapon, so I can't really talk about it much on video. But I will say this. It puts a smile on my homeowners' faces when they realize that we're doing things like really, really well. We have one other secret I can't show on the camera. It's also really amazing too, but it's something we'll explain to you when we meet in person. So a sub, not only does he get in a rush and he uses the cheapest ingredients possible, the other thing a sub typically does too is he has to drive his own vehicle, he has to use his own trailer, he has to use his own tools. And what happens there is a lot of these subs, they just keep these guys broke, unfortunately, where they barely make any money. So the equipment's usually not the very best. In fact, a lot of times you'll probably see this if you're driving down I-45 on your way to work in the mornings. You'll see a trailer. Basically, it's one of those lawn yard guy trailers with windows inside of a trailer for yard equipment. Really? I mean, you just spent $10, $20, $30, $50,000 on windows, and they're hauling them around in a trailer like that, an open trailer, and rain's coming down, and there's road grime coming up, and there's rock chips happening to your glass. I mean, we don't do that. We use enclosed trailers, company-owned trailers that are wrapped. They're beautiful trailers. We have our own company-owned trucks that are fresh, new, young, healthy trucks that do a great job, and we just want to safeguard your product, bringing it all the way to the home. So they save some money on that. They also, a lot of them won't move your furniture. You know, ask this question. Who's going to move my furniture? I've got furniture that needs to be moved in order for you guys to get to the windows. Who's going to take the blinds down? Who's going to take the shutters down? Who's going to put that back? Is that on you or is that on the installer? In our case, we do all of that. We move the furniture, we cover everything up, we put everything back, we take the blinds down where we need to, we put the blinds back up. You're not going to have to do any work. You hired me to do that work. I should be the one doing that. A lot of my competitors, a lot of subs don't do that. Ask them about disposal. What are they going to do with all this old window that they take out? Where does that go? Where does the glass go? I cannot tell you how many times, this has surprised me, so it would really surprise you, how many times I've driven by neighborhoods where I see windows being installed and they're actually leaving the scrap aluminum bundled laying on the ground in somebody's yard. Or they're putting stuff in your trash can. That's what a lot of them do because they want to save some money. And then insurance. Think about insurance. Those guys have insurance? I mean, really? Are they going to be able to show you that they have insurance? We carry a $4 million insurance policy. We carry workman's comp insurance. We have vehicle insurance. We take care of our guys because we hope nothing ever happens. Safety is a priority for us. But in the event something tragic were to happen at your home, we want to know that we're covering you and your home and your assets and your savings with our insurance so that you don't get sued. So you're not brought into some kind of a lawsuit because it does happen a lot. So, products, we have 20 brands. People, the best people in the world. I love our team. Our process, this is a little bit about our process and I think what makes us a little bit different. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you're watching on YouTube, would you please hit subscribe? And if you're on our website, well, you can always fill out that contact form and let me know you watch this video. And if we can help you, we'd love to talk to you more about your window or door project. Thanks for watching and have a great day.